I put out a video a while back talking about history, at least my history, where I spent, I made Grandmaster as my initial classification in USPSA. I used 5,000 rounds live to make that happen. Made Master in IDPA right away. That was before Distinguished Master was a thing, mind you. Anyway, that generated some questions. One of the questions I got was this: what exactly did you do to level up that quick? Did you have any mentors? And I'll just say, no, I didn't have any mentors. I was, well, I mean, geographically kind of isolated. I mean, it wasn't like I was living in Phoenix, like shooting with the hot guy, the hot dogs, hot dog shooters. Not that hot dog shooter, but the hot dog shooters generally. It wasn't like I was doing that. I was living in West Central Wisconsin, and I mean, there were not a bunch of good shooters there. There was a few okay shooters, but there was not a bunch of good shooters. So did I have mentors? No. Uh, the traveling instructor thing was kind of a thing. I think Matt Burkett came through a couple years before I started, but there wasn't like a bunch of there wasn't this circuit of trainers on the level that there is today. Kind of like what I do. There wasn't as much of that, and certainly the internet wasn't as much of a thing, so it was more difficult to get this information. I would say I had a few advantages in terms of mindset that that kind of set me up for success. It was just the way that I thought about it and the way that I approached the problem of getting good at shooting is what helped me out. So first, I looked at I was like 20 at the time, and I looked at high level shooters and what they were doing, like the way that they shot and moved, handled the gun, all of that stuff. I looked at them and was like, okay, these aren't like exceptional physical specimens for the most part. These are just regular looking dudes. Like in theory, if they can do the thing, I can do the thing. And I know this sounds basic, but in my head, I really believed this. Like this was core. It was like, look at them like, yeah, I mean, I could probably do something like that. Maybe not that good, but I could basically do the things that they're doing, right? Because I'm able-bodied 20-year-old. I could learn to do that stuff. And that was like, I believed that. Like, I really believed that. I wasn't like trying to tell myself that. The other thing I did in terms of mindset, and this is maybe a little bit tougher pill to swallow, but I understood immediately that I did not want to emulate anybody that I was around. So, for example, I knew like if I'm going to a club match, um, there's nobody there, like nobody is doing the thing that I want to do on the level that I want to do it. So maybe they're A class, M class, maybe like a kind of a low level regional GM type of guy, whatever. Like I understood immediately that I was not trying to emulate any of these people. Not really. And that a lot, I mean, in a sense, that kind of helped me focus in on like what I wanted to do and how I wanted to train and how aggressive I wanted to be. Um, and that's kind of hard for people, but that's what I put in my head. It was like I'm not trying to do what these people are doing. So imagine if you've been to a range, especially like let's say an attractive young lady shows up to the range and she wants to shoot. There are dudes standing in line to to like offer advice, loan them gear, whatever, all that. I mean, people stand in line for that stuff to do that and to help people. Now, it's a little different if you're not an attractive young lady, but you're just a regular person. People are still very helpful for you. Like they're like they have lots of advice, lots of nuggets of wisdom they want to give to you. They'll loan you gear. People at matches are typically very friendly. And for me, I understood like, okay, I'm not trying to emulate anything these people are doing. Like this guy, like I'm looking at guys like he's in B class and he's been shooting for 8 years. I don't want to listen to this person, right? And that sounds pretty rough, but that was the mindset that I had to adopt because it's like you have to be realistic about about the situation where it's like these are nice people, but I'm not trying to do what they're doing, not at all. And that kind of freed me up to do my own thing. So right away I was shooting a different gun. I'm shooting a Beretta, a double action gun, but I was thinking like, hey, this is working for me. This is okay. And all these people telling me like I should shoot this other gun or I should train this certain way. Like again, I looked at that and I was like, I'm gonna just ignore that. I'd be like, I do not want to do what they're doing. The other thing I did was I set the bar immediately. It's like I want to make Grandmaster. I want to shoot at like X speed, whatever, like this is what I want to be, or this is the pace of my shooting that I want it to look like. And I never had it in my head that I was going to slowly ramp my shooting up to where I wanted it to be. It's just like, no, you need to figure out how to do the thing you want to do. And it's okay to fail trying to figure that out. Try to figure that out. But this like start slow and speed yourself up thing, like that never appealed to me as a mentality. So that's what I had. I mean, in my brain, like that would be the kind of the key to being successful for me at that time, was adopting those few kind of principles in my head. And again, like I really believe this stuff. Like I didn't just tell myself this, like this is how I kind of viewed the world and how I acted. Anyway, I'm sure there'll be more discussion about this. If you have questions, comments, put them down below.